Hi, this is Matt Castellano from TLR. Today I'm going to show you how to set your ride height and set your camber. It's something you definitely want to do every day when you get to the track. I always set my ride height before every run, and I'll always check my camber as soon as I get to the track before my first run. And if I hit something hard or maybe something bent, I'll double check it just to make sure. But definitely want to set your ride height before every run. So you always want to set your ride height on a flat surface to get the best reading. I have my ride height gauge here set to 24. And then what I do is I take the car and drop it from about a foot and a half off the table. And then checking the front ride height, I always check it right after the kick in the chassis, right here. As you can see, it was a little low, so I'm going to raise it up with the collar and then drop it again and check it. And there should be no space between it here, otherwise it's too high. And of course, if it pushes the car up, it's too low. Now for rear ride height, you do the same thing, drop the car from about a foot and a half. And then we always check our ride height right in front of the rear bumper, because our chassis does have that kick in the rear. You want to measure it right there, right behind the toe plate. Gonna raise it a little bit. Check it again. It should be good. And then you always want to check your ride height before every run. It's a good way to tell if your shocks maybe sucked air, it'll be a lot higher. Or if you bent something, it might be a lot lower because it's bound up. So always check your ride height. If it changes drastically, maybe there's something wrong, so double check your car, but it should be relatively consistent throughout the day. Alright, after you check your ride height in the morning, going into the first run of the day, I always check my camber. So here I have my camber gauge already set to -1. We run -1 camber front and rear. And then once again, you always want a flat surface for camber as well. And you do pretty much the same thing. Drop your car from about a foot off the table. And I'm going to start with rear camber. And you put it flat on the table and watch how it lines up the bottom of the tire with the top of the tire. And of course, mine's a little bit off, so I'm going to take a little bit of negative camber out. Drop it again. And it should touch the top here at the same time as the bottom, of course. And then I always like to spin the tire just to make sure that the rim's not bent or something's wrong, and double check it again to make sure it's the same. All right, now on to front camber. Pretty much the same thing. Drop the car, check the front. I'm off quite a bit. Same thing, you want it to touch the top of the tire at the same time as the bottom, and I spin the wheel, drop it again, and it should all be the same. And then now we're going to set toe real quick. Now that all the cambers or the ride height's set and the camber is set, now I move on to toe. Really for toe, I just kind of eyeball it. It's a pretty good tuning way to set up your car as far as entering the corner steering especially. We run relatively heads up toe, meaning the tires are pretty much perfectly straight. Always double check my turnbuckles to make sure they're about the same, unscrewed on each side to make sure none of the ball cups pull out or anything like that. And I just kind of eyeball it and make sure these are straight. If you want it to be a little less aggressive entering the corner, you could always toe these in a little bit, and it makes quite a big difference. So that's about it. Thanks for watching.